Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes
Pretending
away?
I'm wearing a watch.
Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure. And we have a second opening. Let's see if we can get this up because this is a very special edition. And here we go. Here we go. Wait a minute, slide. Okay. So you want to be a cool kid. Martin's my cool kid. Hanging with the inset. Looking real. Cool and fine. Here comes the bridge. I still didn't bring my drumsticks. Here we go. I'll run and get them. Bop, 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 bop. Thank you very much to the voice and music of Serge Hoffman, my friend in Paris. I'm Bonnie D, welcoming back a special guest, Martin S. His last name is Stenzig, Stenzig. Remember that. This is a special edition, and it's special in many, many ways. First of all, I don't usually do one-on-one interviews, conversations. We don't do interviews, but Martin and I collaborated. I think the word is canoodled. I hope that's not a bad. I hope that's not a bad word. Co-created, coordinated, collaborated. I said that twice. In fall, it was October of 2024, just about 8 months ago. Martin, a long time. And I said I want to start a new show called Two TOO Saucy Dame plus something, because I was already doing We Dish TOO Saucy Dames with some of the ladies you know from my other shows, Mary Nunnally, Sherry Ann Meyer, Karen Gibson, and other ladies. And I said, no, I really want to get guys in on this. So I said, Martin, what should I call them? Cool guys, cool buds, cool pals. And then I said, wait a minute, we need a D word to go with dame. And what did you come up with, Martin? Dude. And I said, that's it. And then we talked about what we're going to do, some of the segments of the show. So Martin, you still, I hope, feel honored to be my cool dude number one. And as
Absolutely.
of yesterday, I welcome cool dude number 39.
Ooh.
And there were 3 more scheduled for the next 2 weeks. I'm going for 50 before Labor Day. So I'm hoping I can get to 50. So what I'd like to do is welcome you. And we're going to do, this is special because before I do the introductory poem, I just want to know, give us a little update. What have you been up to? Come on, there's some news on the horizon there. What are you doing?
There is some news. I started my own outfit. Beginning of the year, I sort of, as if you remember, last year I did a 6-month sabbatical, which was the best thing ever. Focus on family, get some distance from everything that's going on, looking at the overall market. And then I realized that my kids are still going to school, so there's only so much fishing in a day you can do, if you still have to be, at your own desk in your own house. I really have passion for certain areas of the business. And so I decided to come back in full swing, start my own company, work closely in the SAP ecosystem, and focus on certain things that I always was very passionate about. So that's the news. By now we already have 5 people. So we moved right from, just being a single entrepreneur as a sort of a freelanced person to having the infrastructure, having the profile in place. I finance it completely myself. So I always describe it this way: it's like there's nobody else to blame but me at the end of the day, which is nice.
And
But it
the
also
name is?
the name is Alpha Oak. So the idea behind it was I wanted to sort of signal that we are not just, focusing on one part, but we're looking at things from beginning to end, alpha and omega. And then the oak is the strength or the strong foundation, the roots, essentially, the strong roots that you need in order to make a long-term sustainable business, but also for our customers, giving them the sustainable roots to sort of really grow their business long term. So we're not interested in just the quick wins or the quick hits. We're really looking forward to long-term relationships with our partners. And so far so good. I mean, huge
Good.
interest, great
Good.
growth. So knock on wood, couldn't be better so far.
I love the name, and Alpha, the A, puts you at the top of the sorting list. My
Yes.
name on one of my other shows is AKA Radio Red, and I did that because I'm a programmer from way back in the day, COBOL and PL1 and mainframes. What is that, Barney D? I think I remember. You might have heard about it in the womb, Martin. I don't think you were there. But the point is that A was, the sort order is the number of special characters and then the alphabet. And I wanted
Exactly.
my name, so I said AKA Radio Red. Martin, we talk about AI on this program all the time. Are you using AI in your business, in your processes, in
Oh,
your
absolutely. So the good news as an entrepreneur, as a business owner that also knows what AI can do, where AI is good, where I trust it and where I don't trust it, I help it on a daily basis to supplement my business, be it of code generation. And it's not that I asked, you know, GitHub to blindly create code for me, but it helps
Mm,
you with efficiency, with productivity. And that's sort of what I look for on a daily basis. And that's partly also the German in me that wants to get stuff done as quickly and as efficiently as possible, all the while making sure that the quality is at the right level. So if I, ask it to rewrite a paragraph for me, then, I'll use that as an input, and then I sort of make my
hmm
own adjustments. But yes, I clearly use it because I think there's huge benefits in there. Now, I think where we're stuck in the industry at the moment is sort of the adoption curve. So
hmm
AI is there. It will not go away. It will continue to permeate, but especially large organizations still trying to figure out, can I trust it? Is my data leaking somewhere where it shouldn't go? So then you have adoption restrictions to say you must not use AI for anything we're doing. And so, can you comply with it? Absolutely, but you're not getting the efficiencies that are out there and your competitors might be reaping in that you can't if you're a large organization. So I think, what's the message here? I think we need to get better at evaluating these new technologies, assessing them, risk mitigating them, and then using them because AI is sort of the latest, but AI-based X, AI-based Y will be the next few things that will come. So I think we need to get better at sort of figuring out processes to adopt to those and be open to those kinds of improvements. Obviously, with the right risk mitigation strategies and
Yep.
and with the caution that is always necessary, but it's not going to go away.
No, it's not going to go away like microwave ovens and the internet. And I've probably used one or two bad examples there. But you hit on something I think is the formula. It's efficiency and quality. You want to do it faster, you want to do more, you want to get it done, but you got to go for the quality. And I agree. When I use it, it's not just, okay, write this for me. I review, I look. And speaking of that, it's time for me to do the formal introduction, but I wanted to hear you talk about your company first. So, and we might
Appreciate it.
have a little surprise introduction here. So, let me do my introduction for you. And I wrote this fresh. So, this is a new one. You were on a couple of times a few months ago. So, here we go. You may or may not know us, Bonnie D. and Martin S. Stenzig, as seasoned business and tech nerds. I'm a proud nerd. Today on this Technology Revolution special edition, we're lighting up about life in music, movies, and offbeat headlines and more. This is not the rhyme yet. Tune in live or on demand. Meet us for real. We won't be here on demand, but that's what it's for, day or night. Send your comments, play nice before or after our conversation, and here we go. Welcome to Martin. Martin S., a cool dude on a lifelong quest. Here's a rhyming intro, then he'll tell us the rest. From Germany's fields to the U.S. skies, Martin arrived with wide open eyes. A 2-year plan? That plan took flight. Now, decades later, everything feels right. He chased a dream up in the blue, a private pilot's license, too. Though grounded now by work and kin, he swears he'll chase those clouds again. He built a life in the mountain air where evergreens and bees are everywhere, with hives now 20 buzzing zzz strong. He hums with nature all day long. On winding roads near Mount Rainier's crown, Martin rode his bike up, down, and around. Adventures paused but not forgot. That helmet's still his secret plot. In '98, he made the leap with German code and vision deep. By 2006, a daring shift to a smaller firm, a growth-laced gift. From 8 bold mines to 1,600 through merger smart and markets plundered. With PE rounds and global sway, he built success the steady way. Then came true love, a perfect match, with kids whose moods now can sometimes clash. What's for dinner sparks the quest. Martin's Venn diagram meals are truly the best. From rye bread loaves to daring dives, his kitchen's warm, his spirit thrives. A sourdough king with German flair, no bakery beats Martin's homemade care. Then pause, reflect, a sabbatical glide to breathe, reset, and look inside. 6 months of space gave Martin range to scout new paths and welcome change. From software roots, he branched with might, built firms from 8 to global height. Acquisitions, exits, scaling teams, he turned his business plans to dreams. With SAP Tech in asset control, he now helps utilities reach their goal. Streamlining work with power and grace, he future-proofs each workflow place. So welcome back, Martin. Calm yet bold, a tale of tech adventure told and untold. From bread to bees to business grown, you prove success is self-home sown. I hope you like that, Martin.
That was fantastic. I should use that actually for my resume. I'm like, here you have it.
I'll ask Sylvia if you can borrow it. She and I wrote that together. I'm glad you like it. Would you like to do an intro for me? Do you have something you want to?
Absolutely.
Because nobody
I
really knows who I am.
let
So,
me try to reciprocate here a little
okay.
bit. So, the rhyming saga of Bonnie D. She talks, she loves, she hosts with glee. Born in Queens, New York, Bonnie D dreamed with a fearless spark, later lived coast to coast and made her vibrant mark. An early woman in tech, forging paths that were newly strode. On mainframes, she key punched COBOL and PL1 code. As a business journalist, she created the Big Bang's Chase Global News, first newsprint, then glossy magazine to spread business views. On cable TV, waves she created and hosted 4 TV series with hundreds of shows. In the Improper magazine concert reviews, her Mathis, Sedaka, and LaBelle portrays struck a pose. She emceed charity bachelor auctions to fund, raise, and enthrall, drummed Motown beats, wrote rom-coms, pens poetry, and has a ball. Launched 55 radio series for enterprises around the sphere, bringing her thought leadership roundtables to businesses far and near. She now steers technology revolution's futurist AI debate, and on Read My Lips invites creatives through her Scarlett mix welcoming gate. And on We Dish, she stirs saucy chats with dames and dudes on air. Her stand-up comics wit meets the live streaming, not edited dare. Bonnie D, out-of-the-box thinker, creator, a host extraordinaire, alive in vibrant verse and rhyme spun with passion, style, and flair.
I'm flattered. Thank you very much. Did I really do all that stuff?
Yes, you did, for sure.
Thank you. Sometimes we look back on our life, Martin, and it's hard to believe. I tell people I'm on my seventh career, my ninth career. I'm not sure how many it is, but I started out as a shy kid. I don't think I crossed the street without an adult holding my hand till I was 7 years old. We lived in a very quiet neighborhood, and now I'm talking to people all over the world, which is
I
my
have the same discussion with my kids. They're always like, "You're not shy." I'm like, "Oh, you have no idea where I started out." So when my daughter needs to do presentations, she's always sort of like, "Oh, no, my goodness." And I tell her all the time, it's like I still have tinglings in my tummy every single time I go on stage or do something, but it's getting better every day. So
there you
yeah,
go.
just go with it. It's gonna get better.
It's going to get better. And if you want to talk, you got to talk. People have to see you. We want to see people, don't we? We don't want to read about it. We don't want to just hear about it. I think we want to see people. And that's why video is so popular. And I started many years ago, for SAP with Game Changers Radio, which was really on the phone, Martin. It was all on the phone. And my engineer Jordan is here today. Jordan doesn't remember, but back in the early days in 2011, I had guests calling in sometimes for my annual Crystal Ball special. I had 15 guests calling in an hour. It was three every 11 minutes with their crystal ball predictions. And my engineer was Aaron, who now owns Voice America. He had to get three on deck for me, and then he had to text me in Skype. We've got the next three. And sometimes he'd say, "We're missing Bob isn't here." I said, "Oh, okay, Mary, could you stay on for another one? Because Bob's not here." We were juggling 15 people an hour on three phone lines.
Yeah, I still remember my first or second participation with you. I was actually sitting in the car in the garage in order to tone down my little kids screaming, or my little babies at that time screaming in the background. I'm like, okay, I need to find a quiet place. I need to find it quickly. So in the garage, in the car, and I'm sitting there. Luckily, we weren't on video, but it all worked out. So,
I didn't know that. I've actually had guests call in just after they got off an airplane at JFK, I think, from a taxi, from the backseat of a taxi, calling in for on one of those crystal ball where you only had to talk for 3 minutes.
yeah.
And and you could hear the noise and the city noise and the taxi driver saying, "Where to, ma'am?" And it was very, very funny. So yeah, I've braved those, but in 2019 I decided to do the live stream video. And people say, "Oh, you have a podcast." And I say, "Well, I call it live streaming because we don't pre-record, we don't scrub, we don't edit. You say a wrong word, kind of too bad." That's the way
Exactly.
it is. So
That's
mind your P's and Q's. So let's go to the part. Let's go back to the cool dude format here. So I'd like to know what's some of your favorite music right now. I'm sure people are saying, "Oh, Martin S. and Alpha Oak is such a powerful wings and roots and branches and reaching for the sky. He must have the greatest music playlist." Current music, old music, any genre, any year, any kind. What are your favorite songs, Martin?
I was thinking about that, we did it originally, and the interesting thing for me is A, it depends on time of day. B, it depends very much on my mood. And then C, I think it also depends on what I want to accomplish. So let me give you a sort of a cross section. I'm taking the kids to school. What we usually rock off to is Linkin Park, Numb. Yeah, it's like I don't know why my kids love it so much, but they can listen to it every day, every day. It's not even something I introduce to them. They just love that song. So that's one. That's the go to school song. There are things like driving a car or driving a motorcycle. Things like Jump from Van Halen, Rock You Like a Hurricane from Scorpions, Home of the Brave by Toto. So those are the things that excite me. And then there are other days where if you get bad news or just have a crying day, it's like Counting Crows. Yeah, best. I mean, it's raining outside and you have a bad mood anyways. Just put on Counting Crows and the tears will flow. It's sort of a classic. And then there are other days where I just want to just sit and listen to classics, and that's usually Bach is one of the guys that I look to sort of in the sort of in the on the classic side because it's very straight. It's not it isn't a Tchaikovsky, isn't sort of, crazy tones that are sometimes good as well, but when I listen to classics, it's sort of very melodic, Bach type thing. And
Is
maybe
is
that's a joke.
Bach your classic dude?
Yeah, it's totally my classic dude.
I had to. I had to. I have never had a guest say that their music is time of day and mood and relation to activities, what they're doing. And that's fascinating. I've had people tell me, I grew up with this music and blah, blah, blah. But I've never had somebody say, "See, I knew I needed to get you back on the show. I knew you would bring a fresh perspective. You want to hear my songs?"
Absolutely.
Well, I got rid of a whole list of, girls just want to have fun and I am woman, hear me roar and all that. And I've simplified it. So Donna Summer very important to me because I was a disco dancer and I taught and I exhibited, had a professional partner, and her discography, Martin, describes my life in not in maybe in a timeline. She works hard for the money. She works hard for the hot
Yeah.
stuff. I've never been a streetwalker in LA, but I've been called hot stuff many times on the radio. Well, 20 years later here, I still call this radio. No More Tears, Enough is Enough is Enough. That goes back to RESPECT. And, I've got a new attitude, Patti LaBelle. Last Dance, I don't teach and exhibit dancing anymore, but I love to dance in the kitchen to Megan Trainor. And I Feel Love from the MacArthur Park Suite. Now, on a whim, I went back to the Billboard Hot 100 from 1978. And I realized that these were some of my longtime favorite songs. Let me just rattle them off. And you may not recognize these, but the Bee Gees were very hot in that
Oh
time.
yeah, no. Yeah.
Andy Gibb, former Bee Gee, left us way too soon. Shadow Dance, Shadow Dancing. I was teaching, I was dancing to these. Night Fever by the Bee Gees. Come on, who
Okay.
doesn't know
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life. Remember that?
yeah, yeah. No, remember
Staying
that?
Alive by the Bee Gees. Staying Alive, Staying Alive.
Yeah, yeah,
Kiss
totally
You
remember.
All Over. Exile. That was a hot one. How Deep Is Your Love? How Deep Is Your Bee Gees?
Yep,
Baby Come Back by Player. One I loved was A Taste of Honey saying Boogie Oogie Oogie. I love that for dancing. The Commodores, Lionel Richie,
yep,
once, twice, three times a lady. Hope I'm not murdering these. Frankie Valli's Grease from the movie. John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. You're the one that I want. Ooh, 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 ooh. Eric Clapton's Lay Down Sally. That's another classic.
very good.
Rolling Stones, and I was playing this with my band in Durham and drumming this "Miss You," do 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 do, and I miss you. Yvonne Element, if I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby. Chic had Dance, 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 Yowza, 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 great song. Barry Manilow, Can't Smile Without You. Remember that?
Yep,
Donna Summer, Last Dance, I remembered that. Olivia Newton-John, hopelessly devoted to you. Foreigner, Hot Blooded, one of my
oh,
favorites.
yeah, always.
Disco Inferno, The Tramps, what a hustle song. I did an exhibition to the next song with my partner. I had 101 fever, and we were booked to entertain at a teachers group at a college where I worked. I was a programmer, and the song was Shame by Evelyn Champagne King. And we danced on a carpet in front of about 50 people. I didn't tell anybody I was very sick. And the next day, my fever disappeared. So, Shame by Evelyn Champagne King. Great song. Barry Manilow, Copa at the Copacabana.
Yep,
Great
you know
song.
that.
Odyssey, the song is Native New Yorker, one of my alt. I got to start playing it again. And Steely Dan's Deacon Blues. Do you remember? You remember some of
Oh,
those? You,
well, I remember most of them. There are just a few that and that might
yeah.
be the German part of me. There are certain things that, never played on German radio. I don't know why, but that I only got to know over here when I came over here in
Mm-hmm.
'98. And there are certain things like my wife and I were always looking at each other. She's like, you don't know this? Like TV series. I'm like, no, this was before my time in this country, and it never really made it into German TV. So, but yeah, no, lots of those songs that you mentioned, I totally remember, and
Good.
love them. So
Yeah, me too. And I don't know why, just on a whim, I was working at that point and I just, they were part of my life in the dancing realm, in the radio realm, and the
yeah,
teaching
I was
realm.
I have a whole list of songs that I associate with certain things. So we have this German carnival where you go and take your kids and you're driving bumper cars. Yeah. And on the bumper car floor where you're driving a bumper cars, they played sort of the top hits that were on the charts. And so there are certain songs when they come on the radio, my mind goes immediately to bumper cars. It's like the funniest thing ever. And I'm like, I look at my wife like bumper car song, and she's like, "What?"
What? That's a say what moment, right? We'll
Exactly.
get to that in a few minutes. Okay, I have now we're going to go to the segment of the show. I knew this would be fun. I really did. I have to pick another year for songs for another show in a couple weeks, but I love the 78 songs. Not the 78 RPM, the 1978. Duh. Okay, let's talk about a couple things. This is off the top, fast and furious. I'll pick three topics and we'll talk about them. Conversation, not interview. Number one, I don't remember what you said 6, 8, 9 months ago, but what powers your day? Is it a drink? Is it a breakfast food? Is it what time of day? What really gets you started with all that brain work
I
and that
love
alpha?
breakfast. It's one of those things, yeah, usually coffee and orange juice. So I'm going back to the basics for me. That's usually what I start my day with. But really, there are seasons for me. Yeah, especially in the wintertime, I usually switch to black tea. And there are also there are also times when I realize I've overdone the coffee. So I almost get jitters, and it's like my body tells me it's like too much coffee. You need to distance yourself from this. So then I switch to black tea for a couple of months, and then I'm coming back to coffee. But if I need a kick in the morning, then I drink coffee. Sometimes I'm actually staying off the coffee because I talk too much, so I need to calm down. And as for time of the day, given that I still have kids that are 7 and 9, usually early mornings in order to get stuff done. Then I go into what I call the email response phase. You can do everything like where you have split personality disorder and focus on different things. And then you're getting back to if you really want to get stuff done late at night, everybody's in bed, you're sort of doing your third or fourth shift, and the house is quiet, the dog is lying around, looks at you, is like, why are you still up? And I can actually get stuff done. So those are the early morning and late at night are for me the times of the day that really when I need stuff done and really need to focus and sort of take brain power and convert it into documents or really have cohesive, longer thinking things that I need to work on. That's usually when I do it.
I can't do coffee anymore. I can't do caffeine anymore. I used to have 10 cups a day. I used to have a Mr. Coffee machine. I was trying to lose weight, and my diet consisted of graham crackers in the afternoon, rice for lunch, and spaced out through the day 10 cups of coffee on my Mr. Coffee, the old-fashioned way. And in the past couple of years, I can't. So you would be peeling me off the ceiling with one cup. So I'm an herbal tea girl now, and it's mostly mint, peppermint. I don't like the orange spicy kinds of things. And my trick is that I will put the tea bag into microwave the water. Oh, what a terrible thing I do. Put the tea bag in, let it cook about another 30 seconds, and then if it's too hot, I put an ice cube in it, and I'll drink it. And then I will fill it with filtered water in the fridge, and
Yeah.
I'll leave the cup in there overnight. And so I get flavored water, and I'll use it for another day. And then I throw out the bag and I start all
So
over
it's
again.
sort of iced tea is what you're
It
doing.
it is, but no sugar, no
Yeah.
lemon, no
Yeah.
flavoring, nothing. And my morning drink, as always, as you know, is my banana milkshake. So it's now 1% milk, about 8 ounces, one banana, hopefully ripe. Martin, if you have a banana that's not quite ripe, but will leave a
Yeah.
chalky taste,
Yeah.
chalky on
Yeah.
your tongue and your
Yeah.
throat all day long. It's like, oh, it's I don't know, I've never done that voice before. But anyway, it's not very pleasant. So I make sure I buy 9 bananas every week at the supermarket. And I buy a couple of green ones and some that look, and they can't have dots or stripes or black marks on them. They got to be really, really good looking bananas. I spend more time in the banana department than anybody in my supermarket.
It's funny that you mentioned it because I did a banana milkshake just last night for my kids, and they looked at me when I took the really ripe bananas rather than the fresh ones. I'm like, no, you will see that's better. So,
Yeah.
I should just show him the recording. I'm like, see, it's
Yeah.
not just me that
You tell them. I don't like the mushy gushy ones, but the reasonably, and I'll take one bite and I'll say, that's a good one. If not, I'll stick it in plastic, put it in the fridge and let it, continue. But I add a little bit of agave syrup, raw agave instead of sugar, probably the same thing,
Yep.
calorie wise, and sometimes a little bit of vanilla ice cream and frozen sliced strawberries, unsweetened, and sometimes a little bit of cocoa. Do you know that there's a shortage of high quality unsweetened cocoa that's been happening for about 3 months now because of the climate change, the storms I think it's storms versus drought in the Ivory Coast. Did you know that?
No, but don't tell anybody else because I now need to go run to the store and get the
Oh,
last.
you're late. You're too late. My daughter,
It's like,
I bought one box of Hershey 100% unsweetened cocoa on Amazon. It cost me $18, even on Prime shipping. My daughter, when she found out I had this emergency situation, I used 2 tablespoons a day in my milkshake. She went to Target and bought the last 4 boxes off the shelf in Greenville, Tennessee. This was 2 months ago. So I'm hoarding it. You remember you couldn't get yeast for bread baking during COVID. It was like
Yeah,
a
very.
hundred dollars.
Yeah.
Well, now cocoa, you still can get chocolate syrup and you still can get chocolate bars, but not really high end. So there is a cocoa shortage, and it's nothing to do with tariffs or anything. It's a climate thing. Just wanted you to know.
Yeah, no, the good news is I still have some in the shelf for baking because I did some.
Mm-hmm.
Well, might come back to that later, but chocolate molten lava cake just
Uh-huh.
a few weeks ago. But it's coming to an end, so good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
will
you can still
try.
get baking chocolate, which is a mix, which has different things in it, but the pure 100% Hershey's unsweetened.
Yeah,
And my supermarket just told me we're not carrying it anymore. That shelf is bare. It's their own brand of baking cocoa, and
yeah.
even that is disappearing. Just like, but you can get chocolate syrup all the time. That's still good. Okay. So I put a little bit of it's gold. I put teaspoons in. Okay. So uh-oh, wait a minute. Phone's ringing. You got to excuse me for a second. Wait, who is it now? Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Are you serious? It's Guy Ritchie. Wait a minute. James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, Kubrick, Chuck Lorre, Shonda Rhimes. Wait, are you serious? Come on. You can't all be Francis Ford Coppola. Speak up. You can't all be on the phone. You want to talk to Martin? No, you got to go through me. Okay, you want to do a biopic on Martin's life? Wait a minute. It could be a comedy. It could be an action film. It could be time travel. It could be a romance. It could be a thriller, a drama, sci-fi. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. You want Martin to pick the title of he gets to pick if we use a TV director, if it's a one time, if it's a sitcom, if it's a special limited series edition. No, no documentary. This got to be a little fictional. And you want him to decide the genre, the title, the director, and who will play him in the movie or the TV show. Okay. Well, Martin didn't plan on this, but I'll have to ask him. Thank you. It's okay. You can interrupt the show anytime. Goodbye. We'll let you know. Okay, Martin, we've been summoned. What would you like to do? We need to know either a biopic or would you like, it's not you, it's who plays you in what genre, by what director, in what media? Go ahead. Tell me.
Who plays me? I
Yes.
think I have to go with sort of my favorite actors probably. So it's like who would play me? I would be honored if it would be Harrison Ford, even though he's a little bit older than me. But it's like
Still
um,
looks good. He still looks good.
as far as directors, yeah, also same thing. I think that the people that I look up to that are just fantastic, like Spielberg, but also lately J.J. Abrams. I don't know if
Oh,
he did the Alias series early on, so that's when I started watching him, and then he popped up in Star Trek, Star Wars, and a few other things. So I think he's doing great stuff. So those are the two from a director perspective. But as far as my life, I would say you end up with a mixture of drama meets comedy meets romance. It's
ooh,
like
I like the
uh,
mix. They hyphenate those,
yeah,
It's
exactly.
drama.
So because there's lots of stuff there that you could make a movie about, and I sometimes look at people like, yeah, way too much information, and sometimes I have the impression that I'm in the wrong movie, but we
All
roll
right.
we
Title. We need a
roll.
title. What's it going to be called? Don't say Alpha Oak. I know it'd be a
No, no,
great
no.
title, but what would we call your story? Or it's about you. You're part of your character, but it's not a biopic. So what would we call it?
I don't know. Your working title is Too Real for a Movie or something.
Oh, I like that. I like that. We could get a lot of good keywords and SEO on that one.
Yeah,
Too real
I
for a
know.
movie, or you won't believe this.
Yeah, exactly.
Even I can't believe this is my life. Very, very. And do you have any other actors and actress who would play your wife or somebody you met along the well? We'll keep it with your wife. An
Oh,
actress?
my wife would be telling me that I would be lying if I wouldn't say Sandra Bullock, on some of
Ooh.
there. So always good. As far as other people, yeah, another one that I can always watch, and there are some challenges with it, but it's Tom Cruise. Obviously he played Top Gun, so it's always since I was a child, I think it's sort of I looked up to, hey, if I could be in his shoes, now that he did the next Top Gun movie. Now my son is also getting into airplanes, and
Mm.
so it's sort of a continuous thing. So that's sort of the two or three people I would probably say.
Very
they
cool.
make.
Harrison Ford and Sandra Bullock. What? Wow.
We haven't had that yet, have we? Sandra Bullock has never done anything with Harrison Ford. I
I
think.
don't know. I don't think so. She wasn't in any of the cave movies or the no, I don't think so. They're both big stars. Very, very interesting.
Yeah,
I
but
think of I think of Julia Roberts when I think of those genres, but Sandra Bullock would be really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
she did the Net back then, and then Speed
Mm-hmm.
was another one that
Yes.
is one of
Yes.
those movies, go-to movies that I could always watch.
Yeah.
Might not
Yeah.
pay attention 100%, but it's sort of you turn on and it's like, okay, it's always good.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. Mine would be a comedy musical, and Reba McEntire, redhead, little more orange than me, would play. And people say Bette Midler, say no, I'm not for me. But Reba, I like her new show, The Happy's Place, which is kind of cool. She inherited, or she works in a bar that she inherited. Her father started, and her half sister she didn't know she had from her dad's you know what that they didn't know he had shows up, and the girl is, I have a master's degree and I'm going to be an efficiency and all that, and they learn to, and the very cool characters in the bar. It's actually very funny. Melissa Peterson's in it and some people I don't know. Very good lines. Anyway, I think Reba would do well. Skip the southern accent quite, although I'm in Tennessee now and I learned to say y'all. I can
Y'all,
say that now. New Yorker says y'all.
y'all and all y'all.
Y'all. No, well, I haven't gotten that. I've only been here 2.5 years. No, we don't say all y'all, just y'all. Nobody from here, nobody I know from here who lives here is from Tennessee. They're from all over the country. This is
Okay, got it.
an active community. No, it's not a golden age community, but people come from all over the country to here, including a lot of people from LA, and I'll tell you off air why. Anyway, yes, and it would be called one of the Donna Summer titles, not Last Dance, would be something like She Works Hard for the Money or something like that, or
Nice.
Heaven Knows. Heaven Knows. What do you think?
Well, yeah, okay.
You like it? Heaven knows just how much. Oh, it would have a lot of characters in it because I've had a few
Yeah.
over the years. Just, I've been single a long time. Well, TMI for the show. Welcome to the Bonnie and Martin Comedy Show. Oh
Exactly.
my goodness. And by the way, Jordan, our engineer today, he said we both name great songs. And he's about 18 years old. So for him to know the songs that we named is really,
Well,
really
it's
fun.
one funny one to that. So I had a colleague that lived in Malaysia, and I was starting to talk about REM, and they're in Athens, Georgia. And he looked at me, he's like, REM. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing with you? I need to educate you first. So, anyways, go with it.
One more question before we go to our say what stories. Is there something I usually do favors vacation places? No, I know you've been all over the world. Is there something that you bought or made for yourself that gave you a lot of joy that you don't have anymore and you wish you broke it, you gave it away, you sold it, you lost it? So I'm combining two topics here. Is there something that you really, really love or something that you still have that you bought or made for yourself that gives you joy? What do you think?
Well, so as far as tools and let's go with tools and toys. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a computer that I have a lot of fond memories from my childhood, which sort of put me on the path I'm on right now, which is my Commodore 64. Unfortunately, I sold mine that I had, and I sold sort of everything that I had with it, or I even gave it away because I said to my mom, like, hey, that's totally outdated. Don't ever need that anymore. Today it was one of those things where I'm like, I wish I kept it. It's not that, it just have fond memories with it. The good news is I found sort of a way to get the games back on, and my son and daughter are playing now, literally the 80s version of Pac-Man again, rather than the new version. But that's sort of one of the things where I said, have fun memories. A lot of the other things is sort of I'm a person that doesn't mind moving on. So I can get rid of stuff and sort of just continue and saying, hey, it was a great time, but don't need that anymore. But that Commodore 64 is sort of like brings a whole lot of good memories to me, and I'm always like, wish I still had that around and could set it up once in a while in order to play with it. But yeah, no, other than that, I don't think. I mean, there's obviously lots of stuff, but if you look around, if you could look around in my office, you would see that I keep a lot of other stuff as well, so it's not a problem.
Me too. You didn't want to see my 53-foot truck move that cost me an astronomical amount of money to move here from Durham to Tennessee. and the things I've kept over the years. But it's always fun to go through the drawers and the closets and say, "What? I still have that? Are you serious?" But I found this in my drawer the other day, and it's one of the early iPads, and I had to open it up. It was battery was gone, and this is one of my original photos. I was doing a lot of photography. I still do. This is one of my
Nice.
flowers, and I had to put in not only password and get it hooked up to my Wi-Fi, but every device I have said, "You've got a new device. Are you sure you want it? You've got to enter your Apple ID on all the devices. You've got to enter your Google password on all the devices. You've got to enter this and that." So I had to go to on my Mac, on my phone, on my other iPad, on this. Syncing wasn't working for some reason, and I had to re-enter everything on all of them to get this to work. And it's just so cute because I use the big iPad now, and I just thought, what is this doing in the bottom of a drawer? Didn't I trade it in for $14 that day? I don't know.
You know what the nice thing is about these things these days? Depending on which version it is, but you can now use them as an additional screen. So I have a customer specific iPad sitting right next to my regular computer that has sort of only the customer stuff on it. It works really well because I can now use my mouse and move it from my regular screen onto the iPad. So it's like Apple has done some
Yes.
fantastic things there from a productivity perspective. So I really love it.
I'll have to think about that. I have two screens here, two 27-inch, and I've got my older Mac on the other side that I don't move over to. So I've
Yeah.
got three. That one's about a 30-inch. So I've got three screens here and two iPads and a phone. So I think I'm okay on the screen side. Okay. I want to make sure we don't run out of time. Let's go to you have to say it with me. Say what? Come on, say it, Martin. One, two, three. Say
Hey, what?
what? See, you helped me. Weren't you the one who helped me? I was calling it wacky news and we talked about it and you said, say what? So I tell everybody, you got to say it just like Martin does. So screen sharing is up. Talking about screens, it's open. Why don't you do share and do your three stories and I'll do a couple of mine and
Yeah,
then we'll.
so not necessarily screen sharing, but I had
Okay.
I'm taking one of the words out of my own experience that I had just a few days ago. Yeah? So here I am creating an invite to a meeting with a partner company, and I just enter, hey, let's meet on the eighth floor in Outlook, yeah, the Microsoft tool. And it changed it automatically to the eighth floor Garfield Barwick Chambers in 53 Martin Place, Sydney, New South Wales.
What?
Cool. Now, the funny thing is, I didn't realize that. So, up until the day of the meeting, when I looked back at my invite and said, we're meeting with? So, the partner calls me, is like, are we really meeting in Sydney? And I'm like, no, we're just meeting on the eighth floor. But, Outlook decided, out of whatever reason, that if you enter eighth floor in Outlook,
Yeah.
it's somewhere in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, which is a nice place.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not it just is, coming back to AI too smart for itself because it's 53 Martin Place, whether or not it just thinks that that's obviously my eighth floor, but I don't know. So I'm like, it was one of those ones where I'm like, yeah, I think it fits in well because it's just
That's a say
technology.
what? That's a
Exactly.
give me your second one.
In 2017, a casino was hacked thanks to a smart fish tank that was connected to a PC regulating food, temperature, and cleanliness of the tank. So
What?
the hackers actually gained access to the fish tank and then made their way back from there and exfiltrated about 10 gigabytes of data from the casino. Now, this is one where it's like, I think it's the every security company's pipe dream of, hey, listen, this is the perfect example of, so it's probably is certainly real. It's a real story that I've sort of validated, but the I mean, it's sort of the perfect marketing input for any security company on the planet saying, okay, you see, even a fish tank can be an open vector of attack for you guys. So be
That
careful what you're doing these days.
that is say what?
Yeah.
I have a similar story, but not exactly on it. What's your third one? Go ahead. These are great.
Um, as of May 18th, Landerneau, France, and you can probably say this much better than I am, holds the distinctions of being home of the largest gathering of people dressed as Smurfs. So
Oh, you don't have a picture of that?
no, unfortunately, I don't. But I'm like,
Oh,
I'm already wearing blue, so all I need is a
okay,
blue
that's
hat
close
on,
enough.
color my face a little bit, and then so it turns out that the town, I think, broke a Guinness Book of Records by gathering 3,076 costumed people together. That broke, I think, a record set in, and now here it comes in Germany in 2019. So my, my home country, in a way, sort of set a previous Smurf, or we call it Die Schlümpfe, a record in Germany that is now superseded by somebody in France. So congratulations, France. But this is one of those things where you read and like, Smurfs again? So yeah. So anyways,
Those
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 were
are
the
three
three.
of the best say whats I've had. Not casting aspersions to my. I want to share mine. Okay, my let's get me. Here we go. Okay, so I happened to pick this story I saw. Let me get rid of all of this stuff here. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
I
Yes, you can.
can.
Okay, let me see if I can raise the bar here a little bit. There's a restaurant on Long Island in Hempstead, near where I used to live, called Peter's Clam Bar, and I think I remember passing it. They just released a 110-year-old 21-pound lobster called Lorenzo back into the sea. I'm
The fact that it's
serious. I
called
didn't
Lorenzo is the best thing, I think.
I
It's
didn't know you were going to do a fish story. He said it was an appropriate way to celebrate National Lobster Day and Father's Day.
here's the question. That lobster already looks half orange. Did they boil it halfway
Don't
before
don't
they
even
realized it's 110
don't
years
don't
old?
even don't even play nice. But my family and I used to a treat was for mom and dad to take us to lobster restaurants, and my dad taught me to eat a lobster. Every part of the lobster got eaten, or you sucked the meat out of it, or you cracked it, or whatever. We were lobster aficionados when I was growing up, and it was always a treat. And we had a summer house on Long Island, and we went to all of the seafood restaurants, and we just wanted them steamed. Sometimes we picked them out of a tank, but we didn't name them. So
No,
it's okay.
no, the
I,
last thing you want to do.
and if I ever went to this place and said, no, I don't want Lorenzo, we'll just leave that one alone. He said it wouldn't have been a good thing. And I didn't have the heart to sell him. 110 years old? Are you out of anyway?
How
Here's
did
the
they
sec.
how did they analyze the age of the lobster? That's a technical guy in me. It's like I
I
know
have to
they are
find out.
clamping the tail in order to sort of signal that,
Well, it's not like the rings around a tree. I
I
don't
know,
know.
and in order to calculate the rings, it's usually an invasive procedure.
Well, the restaurant, they didn't say how long Peter's Clam Bar has been there, but seriously, if he's been there 30 years, and when did they get the lobster, and where did you know what? I need to investigate. I
But
do.
it's a great story.
Here's the second one. Did you know that back in the 4th century BCE, there was something called claqueurs, Claqueurs, which is from the French word for clapping? They hired them to go into theaters. They would read the script of a show, an opera house, a theater production. They talk to the director and the performers, and they would say, when do you want people to laugh, to cry, to clap, to cheer? And then they would send these claqueurs out into the audience, and they would put them into audience seats, and they would be the ones who would start the ha 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 ha, or oh, or
I had
yeah,
no
or
idea.
clapping. Is that something? And they were paid, the claqueur leader was paid, but the underlings got to go for free. They just got in. They were doing this as recently as 2013. The New York Times profiled the clack-filled audience at Moscow's Bolshoi Ballet. Emperor Nero, at public events, hired 5,000 people to clap. Did you know this? And the world's longest clapping, I'm not going to get into what it was, but it was an event 2 years ago in Uganda. It was a religious gathering, and people clapped for 3 hours and 16 minutes. That's the longest reported in Guinness. But let's take it into modern times. Starting in I got 5 minutes here. 1951, I Love Lucy, the first TV show filmed in front of a live audience. It was Desi Arnaz, her husband's idea, multi-camera concept pioneered by somebody else, Jerry Fairbanks. It was used on other shows. So they had signs, applause,
Yep.
laughter, and silence. Okay. And then they illuminated the signs instead of just holding them up with flashing lights and LEDs. And they now use applause signs in live audience shows. I thought that was cool. Okay. Then we have the word ditto. Thanks to the movie Ghost, the word ditto had a strong resurgence in the 90s, but it dates back to 17th century Italy. Bennett Kleinman works for a newsletter. I get his articles all the time. It comes from the meaning of the Italian dialect word that means said or already said. The Oxford English Dictionary says it came into use in the 17th century, meaning in or of the month already named. So, Martin, if you wrote 20th of June, later dates could be 25th ditto, 17th ditto, and it became popular in speech. Then they were using it as an adverb and a verb. He dittoed what she said. Charles
Okay.
Dickens and Louisa May Alcott used it colloquially. The adverb, meaning same as what has been said, became popular in Ghost when Patrick Swayze's Sam said, I love you too. To Demi Moore, he said ditto. And
Okay.
that
I
became a
didn't
new.
I didn't know that the word had a resurgence because of ghosts.
It did.
I never followed that movie uh, that in depth, but interesting.
And I have
Okay.
one more, a fourth one. I'm the host. I'm allowed to do four. This one is AI robot window washers in New York. They're robots. A long mechanical arm. Here's a picture. I hope you can see this a little bit.
Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
mechanical arm sweeps back and forth, scrubbing the glass with brushes that have just enough water to clean the grime without dripping below. It's called Osmo. OZMO. It's safer than human window cleaners who are always at, I'll tell you what the propensity is to stay in the profession, 60% faster. Uh, According to Zippia, 35% of window cleaners last less than a year. They didn't say whether they fell. 9% spend 11 years. Window washers are aging out. Most of them are over 40. Let's leave that alone. It's not completely autonomous. It takes two people. They have a monitor on the scaffold, which city requirements mandate, and they can stop and say something's wrong, stop it. And they have an operator on the roof controlling two robots, Martin, on a laptop. The system goes through 7 to 10 minutes of checks at the start of the day. Then they move it over the side of the building, and Osmo recalculates the path up and down for the platform and side to side for the brushes hundreds of times a second. A second. It
Yeah.
doesn't do power washes. They're very concerned that glass is fragile. They have the owner, co-founder of New York Robotics, a nonprofit network that champions what they see as the next economic surge to clean two windows. It took Ozma 1 minute and 43 seconds. It was like being in a drive-through car wash. Little orange lights flash when they're moving the brushes. Slightly curved at the top and bottom, dealt with the crevices in the sills. No soap, no chemicals. The water cleans away the dirt because it has been deionized. They dry clear, and they might leave a couple of drops behind. Is that cool?
That is very cool.
I found those stories for you. We've got about 3 minutes left. So my last question to you, and this is just delightful. I know you're busy. I know you're building your team in Alpha Oak, and I'm so honored that you agreed to come back. Thank you. But
Absolutely.
let's say somebody's watching. Well, nobody's watching right now, but they will. On everybody's. Oh, I'm too busy. I can't. No, I can't. I don't. I love Martin, but seriously, oh Bonnie, I love you. No. Anyway, blah blah blah. Okay. Here's the deal. Somebody comes to you or me and they say, I want to be like Martin when I grow up. I'm a dude, I'm a young dude, and I like what he's done. I like how he moved from one country to the other. He built a family. He has a license, a pilot's license. He lives in the mountains. He raises bees. He bakes bread. He's got a cool company. He's using new technology. He's building a team. He's proud of what he's doing. He's solid in his knowledge, and he's nice looking and he talks well and all that. And he read Bonnie's poem. So what quick words, what would you say before we go out? What would you say to this person so that they can become a cool dude like you?
Two things. Embrace your passion. So especially in presentations when I talk to people, I recommend to people what to do is like, I have passion around stuff and I let it out. I show the passion. There's nothing better. And I've, even in business cases, what I want to know is like, do you have somebody around this in your company that is passionate about it? Because in my opinion and my experience, passion kicks any kind of dollar values, but every day. Yeah, so that's one. The other one is if you have somebody that you trust and they're opening a door for you, either offering you a job or want to put you into a new position, embrace it. Dare to follow, dare to walk through the door. Because if that person, trusts you to do that job, yes, you might have to swim for a little bit, but just go with it. Trust yourself, you will survive. And even if you sort of hit a wall, a good friend will always catch you. They will not drop you. They will sort of engage with you. And I much rather work with people that are running full steam. And I know, we collectively will run into walls and and sort of get smattered. But that's the experience as well. It's sort of a little bit the whole agile thing, but really let's run. Let's not walk and let's not be too careful. Let's be active, So passion,
Passion and people.
yeah, passion, people, but then also um what's take a risk.
Take a risk. I want to read you a poem I wrote last year. I belong to a poetry group. I do 3 to 5 poems every Wednesday and poems 5 a day during April and November each year. So I've written about 700 poems. But this one is called Night Shift and it's an acrostic. Okay. And I will emphasize it. And I think you'll appreciate this. Then we'll go out. NIGHTSHIFT. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing. Highs and lows flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again. Shifting off and on, into and out of gear. Hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, a command, a curse, a roller coaster. Finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration and fears. Thus is the life of the creative. What'd you think?
Love it. Summarizes it perfectly, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. I'm going to play the outro here. I don't know where Jordan is, but he should have told me we're ready to go out. So let's play this and let's be done. And then we'll say goodbye in a second.
Are you tired of hearing the future is already here? We are too. That may have been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet. Take a deep breath, tune out the hype, the noise, and turn up the volume. Savvy, art of the possible technology visionaries talking about how today's innovations right now are shaping every aspect of our real future. We'll laser focus our spotlight on buzzworthy tech like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, augmented reality, and lots more. Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now. With the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
Thank you to the wonderful voice of Ryan Treasure. We recorded that about 8 years ago, Martin, and I still think it works. Martin, wave goodbye, and I'll be back next week with another edition of Technology Revolution, and wave goodbye to social.